Round two, world-famous sports panel. Let's get into it. These gentlemen. Now, it wasn't too long ago that Ben Scrivens was shipped out for Zack Kassian. And there's a lot of eyebrow raised. Zack Kassian, drafted with a lot of promise, but he has had some off-ice issues that affect him. When he was traded, it seemed like he had got things under control. Everyone spoke about how he wanted a second chance. He didn't believe in saying what he was going to do. He wanted to show what he was going to do. And so far, both off and on the ice, he's shown a lot. In 67 games this year, he has 6 goals, 15 assists. A very good year for what has usually been the third line right winger. Can skate, get up and down the ice. But I want to know, do you? We'll start with you again, Mr. McCurdy. Bruce, sir, how do you feel about Zack Kassian? Where are we playing? Are we giving him the respect he's due for the season he's having?
Well, speaking for myself, I'm starting to, and it took me a while to come around. You know, I have a long memory, and I do remember the Gagne incidents, the one with the stick, and then the second one with the little gesture that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So I was not a huge fan of this player on another team, but always, when they come here, give him a fresh slate, and I've been very impressed. He's got his act together on the ice. Apparently, he's got it off the ice. And what he's showing in recent games is some more, I'm seeing veteran savvy, some good decision making. The game's slowing down a little bit for him along the cycle, that he'll hold the puck that extra second and wait for something to develop. And I frankly am surprised. I didn't expect it from that player, but he's been a pleasant surprise, and his stats are low enough that he's going to be an interesting contract negotiation, but shouldn't be too expensive.
Well, if you add the goals he's been disallowed, was he been disallowed about 3 or 4 goals? Yeah. This poor guy, he could have 10 goals. What do you think about it, Bags? You look at the guy that came over, and there's a lot of people wondering about this guy coming in the room, but so far, not bad. Are we giving him enough love for what he's giving the team?
I may be biased because I really like the sandpaper guys, the guys that go out there and kind of do all the ugly stuff, the things that no one else wants to do. And I think that he has that to his game.
Okay.
And I think that he's, what you alluded to, how he has that poise, or he's developing that poise, that comes with confidence from getting more ice time or from getting that praise from the coaching staff to hang on to the puck so that you can find the open guy. So I think I think his ability to open up ice for his teammates and to play with that edge is something that it goes beyond the points. The points are just kind of icing on the cake. But his ability to kind of command that respect, get in on the forecheck, and open up ice.
All right, last question about the Oilers. It seems like the fourth line, when I used to do a radio show, we talked about the fourth line all the time, when I was more worried about the first line, the defense. But the fourth line now, you look at Letestu, Hendricks, Jujar Kara, you've got Iropak Karayan and Slepyshev. Is there a combination? Mr. McCurdy, Bruce, my man, which combination do you like best on that fourth line? Because it seems like the other 3 lines are somewhat working now.
Well, it's not going to be Brodziak, Stortini, and Strudwick.
Very productive line.
I remember that line fine, actually. But they've got enough bodies and enough options there. It seems the coach is very reluctant to take his veterans out. He likes his veterans. Hendricks is getting in there every night. It seems to be a lot of consensus that people would like to see him more in the rotation of being in and out of the lineup. And, at his age 35, it's tough to be there, every other night on a long stretch. Slepyshev has his moments, man. He sure looked good last night. You'd like to see that guy in there, but at the same time, several of these other kids that are chomping at the bit. Kara's had good times down there. And then we have, of course, the Swiss Army knife in Mark Letestu that does it all. Plays center, can play wing, wins faceoffs, plays both special teams, and he's kind of your utility infielder type that you really do want in the lineup every night because he can help you in one place or another.
And win some draws, which are important. What about you, Bags? Any combination you really like on that fourth line?
I mean, I think that having a Hendricks and a Letestu, if you have those options, you're going to stick with them down the stretch because of that veteran presence. Okay. I mean, in my opinion, how do you take a Hendricks out when he's willing to dive face first in front of a puck to block a shot? And I think that there's something going on in the dressing room where he is that glue guy. I think he's a big piece of the puzzle to keep guys loose and to get people prepared for games. And there's something to be said for that the coaching staff probably sees. Who you put on their wing, I mean, you'd like to see a little bit more offensive firepower out of those guys, but at the same time, you're really just trying to buy time for your first line for Connor to get rested up so he can go back out there. So do you want to go with someone who's going to produce offensively or who's going to be able to get you 30 seconds in the offensive zone and maybe get a change so that Connor can get out there against tired defensemen?
Yeah, there's no. I think a big issue is consistency. You need to have someone who's consistent. I don't think anyone's jumped off the page for me night after night, especially with Jujhar Kar. I think he's been all over the place. All right, today there's announced the Alberta Hockey Hall of Fame 2017 class. Now, some of these people are talking about Glenn Sather. You've got all the whole Sutter family. That's a lot of people to be up there. And Perry Perrin. Do you have any stories or anecdotes? Maybe we'll start with you, Bags, about any of these people that are entering the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, I skated at Perry Pern's camps that he has 3-on-3. I think you were out there. I was above you in the stat sheet. But, I mean, a guy who I was really, you know, an American League hockey player at this camp where there's big-name guys such as yourself. And he still gives you the time of day. Like, he's just a good guy who really valued hard work and kind of the intangibles. And I'm really happy for him, and I'm glad that he's, you know, part of this inductee class.
That's amazing because he won, I believe, 6 titles at NAIT, at ACAC. Now he's been assistant coaching. I think he's been assistant coaching for, it's got to be at least 20 years, at least in NHL. That's a lot of games. Bruce McCurdy, your turn to shine.
Well, Perry Pern, I mean, the 1984-85 NAIT Utpicks that went undefeated for the entire season, he was the mastermind behind that. And I used to follow, well, I still follow the Golden Bears more, but they used to have an annual exhibition game. It was a dandy. And Pern's teams were always good. And, of course, he's a coaching lifer. He's coached the World Junior Championship to gold medal. He's been assistant coach in the NHL forever, all over the place, and he's got that 3-on-3 camp that, of course, is the beginning of every hockey season is when you hear the players trickling into to Perry Pern's camp. So he's a coaching lifer. Of the other guys, Sather and Brian Sutter, I think of them as coaches, but I remember them as players. And Sather, he was the first year I moved to Edmonton, 1962, he was on the Oil Kings that won the Memorial Cup that year. As a, you know, 19-year-old kid, I think he was at that time. And then a decade and a half later, when I started going to Oiler games, there's Glenn Sather as a player and ultimately a player coach. And the next year, the coach, he stepped in for Bep Guidolin in mid-season and took over the coaching reins. And of course, his coaching record speaks for itself. And as for the Sutters, well, Brian Sutter went to the Red Deer College that my wife went to, so she knew of him a little bit, and we followed his career with interest. And man, he was a terrific left winger, just a grinder. He came up as an entire line. They got promoted from mid-season from Salt Lake, I think it was, to St. Louis Blues. Him and Bernie Federko, future Hall of Famer, and another fellow I think named Bourbonnais, and they just promoted them as a line and put them into the NHL as a line. And I'm trying to think if I've ever seen that.
Very good, and a good coach. He coached me in Chicago. I'll leave with this story. He was my coach in Chicago. And you know, I was after practice one day, and I'd already showered. Everything was done. I was walking out of the room, out of the dressing room, and one of the assistant coaches said, "Jason, Sutter wants to see you." So I start walking towards his office. He's like, "No, he's not in there. He's in the sauna." I'm like, "What?" And so he's like, "Yeah, he wants to see you." So I'm like, all right, so everyone's laughing. So I walk into the sauna fully clothed. And he's sitting there, he's got a robe on, and it's 1,000 degrees in there. And I thought it's going to be, hey, whatever it's about tomorrow. 20-minute meeting. 20 minutes. I sweat through everything I had, and I come out, and the guys are dying. They're laughing so hard. So I had to gear all down. The trainers washed my clothes. I had a shower, had to wait for my laundry. Like 2 hours later, I put my clothes on and left because of a meeting with Brian Sutter. But I don't think that's why he's going to the Hall of Fame. He was a really good coach and a great guy. And you guys are great for coming in. I appreciate your time here tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. Let's take a quick break here on Dinner Television. Still got lots more as we work our way towards the top of the hour. Get you to 7 o'clock, Edmonton. Stay with us for that.